Hello and welcome to Getting Naked with Happiness with me, Stephen Liu. Each episode, my guests will share personal stories of resilience and bear their emotions and minds openly. Learn from the wisdoms that they have gained through their journeys and create your very own Wellbeing Toolkit. Today we have a very special guest, and his name is Ammar Ahmad, and he is the owner and founder of Denmark Rail. At the same time that he's also owner and founder of two other social enterprise or non-profit organizations, and he will share with us a little bit more about what he does. So please join me to welcome Ammar to the show. Hello, Ammar. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Stefan. Thank you. It is an honor to be with you.
Please share with us a little bit about you.
So my name is Ammar. I'm, like you said, the host of Denmark Rail, a new podcast I started. And I started because I wanted to connect human beings a lot more, to bring us together. I needed a place where we could have deeper talks, where we could share inspiring stories and learn from each other.
Would you like to share with us about some of your personal experiences in your life?
So I was lost from the age of 18, I think, till 24, 25. And I found I tried to find myself by searching through podcasts and YouTube videos. And the journey was always to find who I am. Why live? Why not die? What is the meaning of life? What should I be? What should I work with? What are my abilities and weaknesses? So I tried to find meaning and find myself, find my purpose.
I noticed that your pursuit of meaning and the pursuit of life has started since really very young, because I've noticed that in your profile, you say that you have shifted in Denmark at an early age when you were 11 years old. Could you please share with us about what was it like and where the history of all this?
I come from Iraq, so the war started in 2003, and we had to move. We have to move from Iraq to Denmark. My dad was luckily here before us. Yeah, we experienced a lot of dark times with bombs and feeling insecure. So we took ourselves and moved to another country before Denmark, Syria, the country close to Iraq. And from there we flew to Denmark. My experience in Denmark was tough because of not being accepted by anyone around me. I always felt different.
So could I go back a little bit about when you were in Iraq and the war happened, and it was the US-Arab war, I suppose, in 2003.
Yeah.
And what was it like for you at that point of time? Could you share?
The war started and we had to move to another house. We have to sell everything, I remember. And we moved with my grandparents. I remember people, the police knocking on the door at night, telling us that the water is not drinkable. Yeah, it was poisoned. Someone poisoned the water of the whole city. So It was tough. Yeah, and so no water for a couple of days till we figured out that it was just a scam. And events like that was shocking. Waking up at night 4 or 5 in the morning of sound of bombs, and I just run to my mom and hugged her, and she comforted us that it's going to be okay. So event like that happened a lot. Not feeling safe.
At the point of time, what were some of the thoughts and feelings when that happened? Could you remember?
I was actually confused. I was 10, 11, and it was just dark, and the lights went off a lot. We didn't feel safe at all. We didn't feel safe. This uncertainty of what will happen in a second or two. So just being home, lock the doors, lock the windows, and stay safe. Try to stay safe. But after a while, we get used to it.
And anybody that you know were involved actively in the war?
Yeah, because they pulled the people to fight, and the people that could fight, usually they are young men, they took to war, and a lot of them died actually. The city we lived in, people fled from that because the Americans told us that the people that will not fight or don't want to fight have to flee from the city. So we fled from Fallujah back then, and it is a city of 300,000 people, to leave it empty with the so-called terrorists, those people fighting back. That's all. So they bombed the city. They make the ring around the city and just bombed in to kill everybody left there.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a tough time. It was a tough time to go through that as that young, and it marked its place in my heart and my soul.
I appreciate for your courage to talk about this, because the other side of the world where I'm based in, we could only watch it on television and thinking that, it was just like news and we know that it was being attacked. Because
it is difficult to imagine a person's, let's say it is difficult to imagine me sitting there in dark place, hiding, afraid. Everything around you is just not safe. Mm-hmm. It's difficult to imagine that, because when we see it in the TV, in the media, we see there is war. Yeah, but war, what is war? War is just a word. Mm-hmm. It doesn't consist of every single second of not feeling safe. Every single second where there is bombs outside, and everyone around you is in chaos, and it doesn't explain that. Words doesn't explain that feelings. They just describe, in general, a big picture that most people haven't experienced. And if you haven't experienced it, then you don't know nothing. You just have an idea, and life becomes just ideas. A lot of people think they know stuff, but they actually don't know it. They just have an idea about it.
Yeah, we only have just an idea or a perspective, and that's the closest that we can get, right? And so after that event, you went over to Syria, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
How was it like for you at the point of time when you were at that age and you have to shift and move away from a place where you call home and you saw it being destroyed? What were you thinking at the point of time?
I think at that age, I didn't realize that much, or maybe I don't remember that good. But I remember only the good times right now, and the bad times was sitting in the car, people beside me shoots out of the window, and it was just a wedding actually, and I was really, really afraid of the Americans would come and kill us because we are shooting out of the window, and I'm just sitting there scared as hell. I just wanted to go home.
So you're saying that there were people shooting out the windows?
It was from the window of the car. Yeah, we have a tradition that when someone is getting married, they take a pistol or a machine gun and shoots in the air.
Oh,
but that is not normal when you have war in your country and Americans are in. And I calculated, this is not good. This is not good. I'm gonna die. So I was afraid of losing my life there, at that age of 11. So I was hysteric, and I was shaking and crying and screaming. I just wanted to go home, and so that was one of the moments I really felt I'm gonna die. Other than all these bombs here and there.
And you said that after that you shifted to Denmark and you you got away from the war, which is safer from the mortal danger, but you went to another stage of pain.
Yeah, because I remember when I was at that age, 11 and a half, when we came to Denmark, when I remember it right now, I remember that I was acting out on the teachers, that no one should poke to me, no one should challenge me with, no one should bully me. So I was really, really acting out. I lifted the chair, I wanted to throw it on the teacher. I was 11 and a half. So I was acting out, and I remember just now. when we talk about it. That this wasn't a healthy way of being as a child, and I was protecting myself against anything that comes from the outside. So no one could talk to me, no one could get into me, and I didn't realize that. I realized it when I was older. But and the other thing is, no one saw that. No one saw what was happening there. No one asked, why is that kid acting like that? And the bullying, and it continued. I felt alone for the most years, actually, because when I was a kid, I was into creating stuff. I was into creating stuff with lights and motors, and I was interested in things that other kids are not interested in. Mm-hmm. So I was alone when I was a kid because of the interests in these creative habits I have, or creative stuff I made. And when I came to Denmark, no one is interested in that either, or the kids in my age. So that left me alone. This is the first stage. And yes, the bullying was because I was different. We arrived in a small city in Denmark, and they are not that friendly to new people. Or the kids, at least, was like that. And the kids actually is just a reflection of their parents. But yeah, let's just leave that there.
Yeah. Yeah. And how was it like for your family and you when you just got from one place, which is Iraq, to Denmark? You just entered a new environment totally, right?
Yes.
What are the few things that happens afterwards before you were being assimilated into the Denmark society?
Big events was I just felt really pushed away from everybody. I couldn't fit in. So what I tried is, I realized that if I change my clothes, if I change the way I'm talking, behaving, if I start drinking like the other kids at the age of 15 and 16 and 17, they will accept me. So I dropped all the interest in computer, because I loved computers after I just became a nerd in that, and I love that. I thought this will not bring me connection with people. This will not bring me a girl and a girlfriend, and so I dropped that and started to change myself to understand the social behaviors and the social games they were playing. So I became really aware of everything around me, and I think it is just maybe something I always had: be aware of everything around me, to notice where is the danger come from. How should I was scanning the environment all the time and try to predict steps ahead. So I noticed that if I change myself, act in a certain way, I'll be accepted. And it worked. It worked.
You were surviving, right?
Yes, precisely. Trying to survive, and it worked. So at the age of 17, I was more accepted. I didn't care about being accepted anymore. I was like, I'm the one that don't want to talk to you. I'm the one that just, I became that guy. Instead of me wanting to talk to everybody, I became the opposite and said, to hell with you all, I'm me, and I don't want to talk with you. So I felt like I'm upgrading myself with the way I'm talking and the way I'm dressed and everything, and now I don't need you anymore. And that worked for a couple of years.
Yeah, part of growing up that we like play cool, right?
Yeah, precisely. Play mysterious.
Yeah,
and it worked for a couple of years. Yeah.
And then what happened after the couple of years?
I became alone again. I was in a relationship, but still alone, partying and drinking a lot. And at the age of 23, I lost my girlfriend. We break up because it didn't go anywhere. And after that, I got into drugs a bit more. And I lost meaning. I lost meaning with my life. I lost my objectivity. I didn't know why I did the things I was doing. I was really, really alone and miserable. Taking the train every day to an education that I didn't feel anything back then about. I was studying barbering, and I'm still a barber. Now I love it. But back then I didn't understand why taking the train 5 hours a day, every day. So it didn't give any meaning to me that I was degrading myself. I was choosing something just because I didn't want to study. I didn't want to read anything. I just wanted to just do something, just do something. But after a while of being lost, I realized that I could maybe do more with my life. Mm. So I searched for something to motivate me on YouTube, and I found one guy, and this guy, the way he approached the motivational speeches and the way he gave me knowledge he installed a program in my mind that made me see that I could be a lot more than who I am right now, that I'm not being my fully potential.
This is interesting. I mean, you shifted at that point. That was a pivotal moment, right? Yeah. Just hold on for that. I'm very interested on that. But could you share with us about what? Because you said you lost meaning. Could you expand a little bit more on that?
At the age of 17, I think 17, 18, I began to get a lot of dreams, nightmares, not dreams. Dreams are beautiful. Nightmares, and they were horrifying. So I woke up a lot, and I still do, actually. I still wake up a lot. I wake up, back then I wake up maybe 6-7 times a night. And this was terror on my mind. It was really, really tough to wake up every hour. It was like, I'm looking at the clock, at the watch. Now it's 1 o'clock. Okay, I sleep. I wake up at 2, at 3, at 4. It was really tough to sleep. So one nightmare was actually where a bulldozer smashing the house I'm living in right now. I look at the clock. It is 4 o'clock, and the lights outside is the same. It was dark and lights from the. So it was a dream happening in the now, and I couldn't separate between if it was a dream or a reality. So that was really shocking to me. And this is just one dream of. This is not even the worst. This is just a small thing. Luckily, right now it's getting better. But back then, it was always about protecting someone. It was always about me protecting my family around me and hiding and running from a place to a place. And I can see that. Oh, let's hide behind the elevator. Let's hide behind this. Let's hide behind under the bed. It was a dream of fleeing from something all the time while someone is shooting at us. It was just horror. It was horror, and I didn't talk with anyone about it for a long time.
How do you get out from that mental space to a better place?
I wake up in the morning and just go on with my life. And these dreams could stick with my mind actually the whole day, and I could easily be irritated or yeah. But I'm smiling all the time. The one thing that kept me alive is my smile. I think I'm smiling, trying to smile, but later on, in actually last year, as 26 years old, I realized that I have PTSD. I didn't know that. And
at 26 years old, you realized that you have PTSD. How did you arrive to that realization?
Doing drugs took me to doing drugs and wanted to stop that. I realized that I should maybe consider a psychologist or some sort of treatment for that. And I was actually trying to get some treatment a lot before that also. But when we were digging into that, we realized that maybe there is something about PTSD. Maybe there is something about some sort of depression or anxiety that was there. Anxiety. They told me that I should quit that drug because that drug will bring all these nightmares again and again, and they will amplify them. And they did also. Alcohol is also horrible for me. So when I drink alcohol, I have bad dreams. But now it's getting a lot better. Now it's a lot better. Now I can sleep a bit more, and the dreams got less and less. And I realized that every time I skip something that I'm conscious about doing, that I should, let's say I should lock the door, and I don't lock it. I said, come on, Nothing will happen. I will get in the dream. I'm punished by getting a nightmare that someone will break in.
I see.
So if I needed to talk to an old girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, and tell her I'm sorry for something, if I'm not gonna do that, when I'm conscious about it, if I'm not doing it, I'll get into the dream. In the dream, I'm saying sorry to her. So it's like, just get it done. I cannot skip something anymore. So every time I'm conscious about something, I just do it.
It seems that your conscious mind and your unconscious mind is really connected and fluid. Why I'm saying this is because we dreams, right? We have dreams, but many of times we do not remember these dreams. But for those people who remember their dreams frequently, it means that they have a quicker or fluid access to that state because they're so used to having dreams and remembering them. And for you, when you talk about not forgetting to lock the door, and then you will start dreaming about the consequence of not locking the door, and it seems that your conscious mind and unconscious mind is connected in a very seamless way.
Yeah. So I learned I cannot skip anything. If I'm awake and I'm conscious about that this glass of water beside me should be on the kitchen right now, do it. If I skip it, I will think about it. If I skip it, I will get in the dream. If I suppress anything consciously, I'm getting it in my dream. I cannot skip anything anymore. So I have to just do the things that should be done. That my conscious mind think that this is wrong. If this is wrong and I'm conscious about it, just do it. If I'm not doing it, I will suffer.
What were some of your coping mechanisms that you have learned so far? Like, from surviving the war, moving to Denmark, and then growing up through the stages to get social acceptance. What were some of these skills or techniques that you have learned or that you have used that has been effective for you?
The thing that was most effective for me actually is listening to podcasts, self-help audio files, and try to install knowledge in my brain so my mind have a lot more to work by. So instead of operating from a negative past memory, I install new thoughts, I install new knowledge, and I install possibilities for the future to create something. So I'm aware all the time of what I'm doing, to be aware, to be conscious of everything around me. These are things. I think one of the biggest one is consciousness, being aware, really being aware of everything around me.
I like the part where you say about your being aware and being connected to the consciousness. For people who went through traumatic events, they sustain an injury in their brains, right? Past traumas have an effect on their present lives. But what you do instead is you choose to listen to podcasts, audio, self-help constantly, because you know that if you do not do anything about it, you will naturally regress back to that state. And this is what you do consciously every day.
Precisely, because my thoughts will go to what if my friend that didn't write me that he's home or she's home at night after when we're going from here, what if something happened to her? And it's always critical. It's always these bad thoughts that pops up, and I have to control them. And I think one of the biggest things PTSD learned me was to be aware, and I use that consciously instead of suppressing it and say this is a bad thing happened to me. I use it consciously. I use it to be aware, more aware, and I like to predict steps ahead. I like that. I like to see and remember everything around me.
But that also came from a place of survival, because you need to take note of the environment. You need to think about other people. So you're constantly worrying and being in the place of survival. How do you manage that from being overloaded with all this information and still maintaining your state of well-being? Like how?
I have one word. It's tough. It's tough.
Okay.
It's tough, yeah. But I try to create instead of, because consciousness is when you are conscious, and you can only be conscious at one thing at a time. You can only work with one thing. So right now I'm conscious about this. So I try to shift my focus from something to another thing. So if a thought pops up, I have a choice. So I could either go into bad thoughts or create good thoughts. So I try to create good thoughts. And music is really good for that, because in music we can shift people's feelings, and therefore they work. Music works. So instead of listening to songs that I have some memories connected to them, I try to find new songs that I love, that sounds great, that there is no feeling attached to them. Mm-hmm. So I try to shift my focus. Actually, it is the one sentence I could share. Shift my focus from something to another thing.
Well, I think that's really powerful, because what you just shared is priceless. Before shifting the thoughts, you have the awareness of catching yourself thinking and about to ruminate. You catch the tail of that rumination, so that you do not go into that feelings of negativity, so that you do not spiral into it. Because there's so much awareness that how it has affected you all this while, you can even start to see yourself going in. Like there's some sort of like higher or heightened consciousness that you have developed. And one technique that you shared is instead of consumption, you create things, you create ways of engaging yourself by shifting your thoughts. Like, for example, finding new songs that you will like to listen. So you start to look for them, but rather than going back to something familiar that have an association, and this association may trigger negative emotions. Yeah, wow, that's powerful. You have a very high level of awareness. Do you have any other tips or experiences that is connected to your mission of happiness or well-being?
Yeah, what I usually do is smile to the world, and the world smiles back. So I try to actively add instead of just consume. I try to act instead of react. Usually people react to the world. I try to act and engage in changing what I see by changing myself. So if I smile, I know the world outside of me is just a mirror. And a mirror reflects everything that is put in. So I try to go into the world by just smiling. Not faking it, but try to breathe deeply and smile. And while you're smiling at that moment, try to realize that you have actually everything. That life is good, that you just wake up, that every worry you have is actually not here, it's just in the future. Right now you're still home, you're still safe, everything is good, there's no problems. The problems is either you're suffering either the past, or you are suffering the worry of the future. And I'll try to bring myself always to the state of now by breathing in. Where am I? I'm here, actually. There's nothing wrong. Life is good.
Thank you for saying that. I like the part when you talk about when you smile intentionally and you choose to engage in the world spontaneously, you are also affecting the world around you. You are impacting other people around you. And which also means that people love to hang out with you then, Ammar. That's why you created all this like non-profit organizations, all these activities, creating hope and opportunities for people to do meaningful things. Will you share a bit more about that with us?
Yes, yeah. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to add instead of take. So when people talk about if the glass is half full or half empty, I'm trying to add to the glass. People are concerned if there is water in the glass or if it is half full, half empty. I'm concentrating on adding to the glass.
Adding.
When you add to the relationship, when your focus is one, add to the relationship, add to the world. You are not taking anything from anyone. You create instead of expecting. When you expect, you wait. You wait for something to happen. And if you wait, you will waste your life and life will pass. I concentrate only on one thing: add to the glass. When you add to the glass of water, of love, or of the world, it will always be full. I try to create organizations to add to the world. And if I'm adding, there will always be something. Now there's an organization that's called One Unit. Mm-hmm. And the name is because we are all one. And in that organization, we try to take these young boys and girls from the age of 14 to 20 to try to make them see how the workplace is and how we could engage with each other and become more connected, to have fun and to, instead of only sitting with the computer. And the other project is Crooked Home. We have a barbershop called Crooked. So Crooked Home is homeless, stands for homeless. And it also stands for home, something warmth, so something safe. The homeless could come every Monday after booking an appointment with me, and I give them a haircut for free. I'm trying to add instead of taking. When I add, I'm part of everyone around me because I'm not taking something from anyone. If I'm having the approach of taking from anyone, I will be always chasing something to get to me. So I want to be the best. When I have that approach, I'm always competing. So I'm not competing. I'm creating and I'm engaging. I'm adding. When I'm adding, I'm part of everyone's life. So when we are connecting with people, we become with them. And the beauty about that is you never become lonely because you are part of everyone's life.
I feel so heartened by what you just said, Ammar. It's so beautiful. So you're actually adding value to the world.
Yes.
That's so beautiful. I have to say that my heart expanded when I hear you say that, because you're so compassionate with so much intelligence and you are creating opportunities to give back to people. And I love your analogy of adding value to the glass of water. Instead of taking from people, you are a giver. You are giving. You're constantly giving and adding value. And you're smiling to the world. You're creating impacts with your social enterprise. You're helping the youth to go out to engage the world so that they will understand what is important. And I love the part that you are giving services to the homeless. And you're adding value to them because you're heightening this relationship of connectiveness. This is so amazing. This is what we talk about in positive psychology, in positive relationship. You are doing it. I'm very proud of you, Papa. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I didn't know what I did, but I'm just doing it.
I like the part what you said earlier about instead of taking, you're adding, because taking is, if the mindset of taking or being competitive is always about trying to struggle towards or work even harder by competing with other people to get to have access to themselves. I like that part. I couldn't phrase the way you did it, but it was beautiful.
It is like being a person in the middle of people, and he tries to pull things from them to collect around him. And now he has everything around him. And so what? Now what? Now you have everything around you, a lot of stuff. You took it from everyone around you. What are you going to use that for? You can only drive one car at a time. You can only live in one house at a time. You can only eat one food at a time. It's like you cannot eat all that food that it's just wasting, and these cars just standing there. Try to add instead of taking from everybody. And it's what this is what gives me meaning, to create the world I want to see. Because I want to see, that means because I'm seeing a world around me which is not everybody's, it is my world. So when people try to change the world around them, they have to remember that this is actually your world. So if you think that your world is bad, if you think the world is bad, actually it is your world because you see it with these eyes. So what you have to change is your thoughts. By changing your thoughts, you change what you see. And this is the beauty of it. There's nothing outside.
How will you advise people, because we live in a fast-paced society and we are very results-driven and things are shifting so fast. And in this pace, we live in a world of fear. Of course, constantly there are changes, there are war, there's terrorism, there are like so much uncertainty, right? But it contrasts in what the way you say, because many people are making decisions based on fear. But you're now saying that you are making decisions based on love and based on the fact that you want to create the world that you want to see. How will you advise a person who is in that space of fear and they have been brought up from a mentality of taking, competing, because they want to survive, and they've been told that that was the way to do so? How will you advise them? How could they start to shift their mindset?
I'll not try to change anything, because the one thing that I could advise is look within you. Are you happy? Because if you're suffering, then you are doing something that is not good for you, or then maybe you are paying a high price that you are not able to pay or don't want to pay. So it is look within you, and if you're happy for what you are doing by just taking from everybody, then continue that. Why should I change? Why should I let you change that? Because usually I wasn't happy. I was not happy. And because I wasn't happy, I thought, what could I change? How can I improve that? How can I make this feeling go away of being lost, afraid, alone, without meaning? So when you have your hands on the stove, you will not move it unless the stove is hot. That means if you're not in pain, you will not change. So if everything is good, stay there. But when you feel this is gonna burn, then change. And this is the only time you can change, when it's hot. So the idea is to start by doing something lovely for others is one of the things. Even if it is just $1, give it to a homeless. It's not about the money. It's not about that $1 or one sandwich you give to the homeless. It is about making the homeless be seen, feel that he is a human being. And when you get this recognition back from the homeless, that when he smiles or she smiles at you and thank you from the heart, you can see it, you become really happy. You feel that you contributed to the whole, you contributed to the world. You made another human's life better for today by just giving something so small as $1 or a sandwich. So continue, start thinking about who you are, start feeling in and looking inside. Usually when people wanted to change the world is because there's something wrong with them inside. Usually, I didn't say always, but usually. They have to find, why are they sad, why are they unhappy? And ask questions. Actually, I do that all the time. When I feel sad, why am I sad? So
it takes quite a mature level of emotional understanding to place that question, because I think many people, or I won't say that it's a man, but recently there has been a lot of discussion about how men are shutting away or avoiding feelings. But based on what you just said, is asking themselves, why are they sad? And I think that gives them the number of awareness for them to move forward. But it takes some level of intricate skills to do this, right?
Should we find something simpler then? Like I said, if you're unhappy with your life, then you have a reason to change it. Usually people are happy, and if they are not, then they have a reason to change.
Yeah, I agree on that. I was just listening to a podcast recently talking about pain and discomfort, and we live in a world society whereby we chase after comfort and we think that comfort makes us happy, but we are not. So getting that progression or acceleration of finances, or as you say, house or car or whichever, or a comfortable life, do not expand, do not grow us. Instead, it holds us back spiritually, psychologically, and it doesn't really add value for us. So I think we can't find meaning in that area. But of course, maybe there are people who do that. But it seems that when we are being placed in a position of pain or discomfort, then we will grow.
Precisely, because that pain will make you move your hand from the stove when it's hot.
Yeah.
Actually, Emerson said, people wish to be settled. Only as far as they are unsettled is there any hope for them. Everybody's seeking for that settledness and being settled and find this girl and find this man, that man and that job and the perfect house. But when you get that, the dream is finished. You get it. You were hungry. Now you ate. Now it's not a desire anymore. And you don't need it anymore. The happiness of it disappear because you got it. So it is the process of on the way to get it. That's the fun of it. Mm. But people doesn't enjoy the process. They only want the result. Mm. But they ought to understand that when you get the result, the dream is dead. There's no meaning in it anymore because you got it. A want that is satisfied is not longer want. So you don't want it anymore because you got it. You are fed right now and your stomach is full.
And isn't that so? Maybe they will go to the next want.
Yes, and we will be running all our life.
Yeah.
because if it is happening that we're seeking, then it is not going to be. Then happiness is just a state of mind, a state of being. You have to be it right now. It's a state of appreciation of everything around you. When you chase it, it's just like a magnet pushing another magnet. They will always be apart by this magnetic field. They will never come closer to each other. This is chasing happiness.
Wow. Yeah, the happiness goalpost is always shifting, and you say the manic, they always be repelling each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's lovely. On happiness and well-being, could you share maybe a daily practice that contributes to your personal well-being or happiness?
I think I just try to add again. When I can see that I created something, I start my mornings with a journal. Before I wrote them down. Now I'm not writing them down. Now I'm saying them in my mind and try to breathe in and feel that this is going to be a good day and I love my life and I'm thankful for my life, my parents, my job. I try to be thankful for everything around me. When I'm thankful, when I count all these things that I'm thankful for, I realize that I have a lot. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful to be alive. I'm thankful for my parents, my job. And my friends, when I say all these things, I realize that I have everything. Because we tend to forget that. When we are chasing something, we forget everything around us. It's like we are looking at the TV and we give this tunnel vision. We forget we cannot see anything around us. We see only the TV or that tunnel vision. Mm-hmm. The idea is to take a pause in the morning, just when you wake up, breathe in, and try to be thankful for everything. Say I'm thankful for this and this and this in my life. And when you say that, you realize that you have everything. And I do that again before sleeping.
You do that again before sleeping, morning and night?
Yes. Because when you wake up, you start your day by that. This is the closest moment to the unconscious mind. So you train your unconscious mind to look for the good instead of looking for my day is bad, I'm tired, my life is shit. And they all, instead of repeating that, we reprogram ourselves to say something else. And we start saying, my life is good, I'm actually happy, I'm thankful that I'm alive, at least I'm breathing, and my health is good. And I repeat that before I sleep because, again, I'm trying to reprogram my unconscious mind. So everything I'm doing actually is a reprogramming of ourselves, a re-examining of ourselves. Everything I'm doing is a re-examining. I try to look at things again.
I love the part you say about doing these activities of appreciation and gratitude. So in positive psychology, we call it, we do gratitude journaling, think of 3 good things that have happened to you. Right now, you're adding that, giving a new spin to it, because instead of doing it at night before we sleep, you do it when you wake up and you do it again at night. I think that you're starting and ending the day and the night with a full spectrum of positive thoughts.
But not only that.
Yes.
There's something behind it also.
Tell us more.
It is discipline. When we have this structure of I'm going to do it in the morning, and I'm going to do it at night before I sleep. We start by being disciplined, and we end the night by being disciplined. So we train ourselves to be disciplined. And the same in Islam as a religion. When we pray 5 times a day, 5 times a day, you have to be pulled away from something you work with, something that's stressing you, to go and pray. And pray is like meditation. And this is just a discipline. This is just a discipline of taking you from something you work with to do something that maybe you don't like. And when you have to do it at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning, to wake up and do it, this is discipline. We are training ourselves to be disciplined. And there's a lot of doors to success. There's thousands of doors to success. But there's only one key: discipline. If you cannot be disciplined, you are not going to be successful.
I love that. Discipline, there's only one key to many different doors of success, and discipline is the key. Can you share one life advice to those who are in their 20s?
Invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself.
Yes, because this is not telling you something. This is just saying to you, invest in yourself. Because I learned with time that every advice I give could be good or bad, and that people are really different. People are really, really different. So I cannot give any advice other than invest in yourself and try to figure out what that means. Invest in yourself.
Okay, invest in yourself. I cannot help to jump to the part of invest in yourself also means that do things that will help yourself to expand or to grow.
Yes. Right? Let's say that the mind is a computer with a hard drive. And when you add a new knowledge to that computer, the computer is able to do more. So the phone back then was just call and text. And we added new knowledge to the phone. And now the phone is able to do a lot more. It's about investing in yourself to sharpen yourself. When you sharpen a knife, you make it gets new again. It gets sharp again. So when your mind becomes sloppy, you have to train that again by sharpen it.
I like that.
So invest in yourself means take care of yourself in the way that you maybe take courses, read. If you hate reading like I did back then, I started by using podcasts. And actually I have one thing more. The fastest and the best way of obtaining knowledge is by listening.
I strongly agree.
Listening is the most effective way and the fastest way of learning anything. Listening and seeing. Because this is the way we learned how to read, how to write. And we learned it by just recording. We couldn't, as a kid, if you imagine as a kid, 1 year old, 2, 3, 4, 5, we couldn't translate anything. You just had one thing, recording. And you didn't have any language to translate to, so you just obtain everything and record. So if you want to learn anything, just record it. Just record it into your mind. Find a podcast, find an audio file, find an audiobook, find a documentary film or something that you enjoy, and record in your mind. Start downloading to your mind.
Oh, like that.
Even if you don't understand it. Because when we were a kid, we didn't understand anything. But we still became able to study, read, write. We learned everything by just listening. And look,
Very, very true. Because I now, when you say this, I remember the times when I was watching and listening to people telling stories. And sometimes I don't even know, but the interest of listening has always unfolded into many different aha moments. Yeah, it could be related to psychology, personal development, spirituality, or science, or whichever. It's through, we learn through listening to people's story, watching their stories, listening to them. And for those who are listening, this would be the tip and advice from Ammar. So record, download this information, get yourself out there and invest in yourself. This is very important. Go out there and always constantly learning and growing. So Ammar, if people want to find out more about you, how can they do so?
yes, they can look into Denmark Reel as one word on YouTube, or at Denmark Reel at Facebook, Instagram, and yes, and I have a lot of stuff. One unit, crew cut. So, but yes, Denmark Reel could be the one.
Okay, so Denmark Reel is the country Denmark, and Reel REAL, Denmark Reel. And
yes,
that's what you find Ammar. And
yes.
Ammar, I would like to thank you for being here. I appreciate your dedication and mission for sharing compassion, giving, adding value. And in this conversation today, I've learned so much about what you're doing. And I love the part that you're giving back and giving those people the recognition and dignity of being recognized as a human being. One small thing, actually, I want to say even small thing, one big thing that I learned today is about not just showing appreciation and gratitude, but it's also about smiling, and you recreate the world that we want to see. And we have this choice and this power. And for those who are listening, please, I hope that this will be a takeaway message, that if you are feeling a little bit down or challenged, you have every single ability and power to create the world that you want to see by starting with yourself, by investing in yourself. If you have other questions and comments and ideas, please hit us up in terms of getting naked with happiness. If you have any ideas or thoughts and comments, please let me know. I would love to hear from you. And I would like to thank you again, Ammar, for being on the show. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's an honor to talk to you. And for those who are listening, I wish you a great, lovely day and create the world that we want to see. Bye-bye.